Hi, it's Gordon here with week 16 of 2012, a year with Mya-Moe Unscripted. And this week's topic is fretboard binding. I did a video a couple of weeks ago and talked about the parts of the ukulele, and it was pointed out to me that I neglected to talk about the fretboard binding. So here we get a whole issue just on that topic. So if you look at this, it's one of our classics. It's a cutaway, all myrtle. And if you look at the edge of the fretboard, you can see right up in here, along this entire length of the fretboard, a decorative strip. In this case, it is koa, which matches the body binding on this instrument. And you can see that koa strip running all the way down the fretboard. So that's what fretboard binding is. Now, why is it on there? Well, let's start with looking at a piece of fret wire here. So here's I'll bring it back a little bit. This is a piece of fret wire, and it's ready to go in a fret slot. And if you look carefully, you can see this piece that extends like right up here on top of it. Really hard to see. But right up here on top is the actual fret. And then down below it, you see this piece, and that's called the tang, and it's got these little barbs in it that are like on fish hooks. And when that goes into the fret slot, it captures the fret, and the fret doesn't come out. So the reason that you put binding on the instrument is twofold. One, it's just decorative, and it looks good. And two is it cleans up, and again, aesthetically, it cleans up the end of the fret. I'll show you what I mean. Here is a tradition that does not have any binding on the fretboard, just an ebony fretboard. And if you look at the end on each one of those frets, you can see that tang, kind of like a T, that comes down. And that is just the end of the fret right here that's sticking out. And you can see this bottom part, the tang, sticking out right on the edge of the fretboard. If you look at the edge of this bound one, all you see is the top of the fret wire. You don't see that little T coming down. Now, some people might mistakenly think that this makes the playability better because you don't have more metal there or you can't feel it. Well, after we've dressed the frets on this tradition, you don't feel that anyway. Those are flush with the edge of the fretboard. So it really doesn't affect playability. It is purely aesthetics. It takes a while to do. Not only do we have to put the binding on the edge of the fretboard, but for each fret, we have to take, and if you see that the tang there doesn't go all the way to the end, well, we've cut this fret and then nibbed off that tang right at the end there so that the fret wire itself can just overhang the binding by just the slightest amount. So that's what fret binding is, and that's why it's there. It's aesthetic, but boy, it sure does look nice, doesn't it? And it cleans up the edges. Some people go with a binding like this, like the koa, that matches the instrument. Other people go with ebony, and in that case, you can't see the binding at all, but you do notice at the edge this same effect, which is you don't see the tang for the fret wire. So it does clean up the instrument aesthetically. All right, that's it, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.